top tier man, top tier woman, high value man, high value woman. What qualifies that? I'm looking at stuff. I see things. Before I even go into this, I had a conversation with a female friend of mine discussing some of my work, discussing some of the subject matter that I might be bringing up. I used the words high value in one of my short. I did like a short video somewhere, whatever. You'll see that. But I said something about high value, like what the value of a person might be, and she sort of felt like, okay, I need to correct you on that, or hey, check me on that. Like she's giving me feedback basically, and telling me like, oh, don't use that because people associate that with Kevin Samuels in terms of like, oh, a certain net worth man, and whether a woman qualifies for a certain man who's high value, right? You're not able to get a high value man because you're not a woman that's blah, 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 whatever, right? And she didn't want that to be conflated. Like somehow I'm endorsing or suggesting that a high value man is someone based on how much earnings, what his income is, his annual earnings, what his paycheck looks like. So I basically I said, look, here's the thing. I'm gonna do a whole video on it. I'm gonna talk about the high value or the top tier. I saw that recently, top tier man, and what that means. And I don't personally think that it's just the paycheck, right? We're gonna talk about it. I'm MarcusVanHorne. I want to talk about this because I find some of it to be hilarious, some of it to be obvious. I would think anybody who is high tier, top tier, high value, you would think would know this, right? Like you would think it would just be natural for you to know what qualifies a person. We're going to stick to the men here as a high value, top tier man. Look, I see people talk about like it comes down to I look a certain way. I'm not going to name names. I'm just going to point out that recently I saw a video on this and it came down to the brother's height and annual earnings. And that was it. That made him qualified as top tier, high value for women. Here's the deal. Let's just get right to it. Let me not mince words or try to, make this anything other than what it is going to be. It's going to be me telling you, MarcusVanHorne telling you, somebody who's getting into the date coaching, date consulting, love, romance, relationships between men and women space, me being in that space, me giving you my personal take on what high value means. I'm going to redefine it if you, for some reason, are in some other thought where you believe it means just the earnings. Because let me say this. First of all, if we're going to talk about height, I'm 6'5". I'm not, all right, so 6'5", a light-skinned brother. I had my heyday of being a good-looking brother. I'm probably not there anymore. I think I'm relatively, aging with grace. My wife still loves me, but, I had my time where, I was a desirable, handsome man at 6'5". Now, I've worked in corporate America, so I wore a lot of suits, and I was always pretty well dressed. And I made over $200,000 per year. But I had plenty of times where that didn't make me top tier because my character was lacking. Where I was in life mentally was lacking. How I treated people, women, was lacking. So it ain't just the income and how tall you are, statistically speaking, that makes you much more of a catch for the ladies. Now, I will say this. Yeah, you might be high value, top tier to women who are only concerned with those things. Then yes, from that perspective, in that context, then people who consider themselves high value, top tier brothers, top tier men, you are only top tier to females who are identifying, who are desiring men who have nothing else going on but being tall, being attractive in whatever way that is, because that is totally subjective, right? And if you have a certain amount of income. There are some women who totally will disregard how tall a brother is or how attractive a brother is based on the fact that he's making $500,000 to $1 million per year and owns a certain amount of real estate, a certain amount of cars, and can fly her out. Especially in today's society, especially in the Instagram thing going on and the online thing going on. Plenty of women are getting flown out by brothers that they wouldn't even look at twice. But the income is there, so they rate as top tier. but only top tier to women who are looking for that. If you want to talk top tier overall and what a high value, a real high value man is, you got to look at the whole package. I know females wanted to hear that word right there, right? But you got to look at the whole thing. You have to look at, is this, because you can easily have a brother who's got a certain income who's going to treat you poorly, who doesn't have the mindset to be in a relationship with a young lady and treat her a certain way. Again, whether that's for a long-term relationship or even in the short term. You may treat a woman like a dog, or you don't have enough character yourself. You don't know yourself well enough, and you have not matured as a man, as a gentleman, as a black man, to actually give the right value to the right woman. All you have is an income and height. That don't really mean anything. That doesn't go anywhere from a long-term perspective. So overall, high value, top tier is when you've got it all, brother. It's when you've got the character, you've got the mindset, you got the maturity, you've got the swag, you can dress, you also make the income, you also know how to treat a woman, you also have resolved any issues within yourself that could potentially ruin or make you less valuable to a woman. You have resolved a lot of things. You're not perfect, but you're at a level where you recognize you're not perfect, where you recognize that you are vulnerable and have things you need to fix and things you need to change. Your character allows you to do that. You're able to give yourself to a person. That would make you top tier, because you encompass many of the things that a woman, a real woman, a high value woman would find worth being with. It's not just height and it's not just income. We are currently in a state where, yeah, we've got a disparity between the income disparity and the education, which translates often into the income, right? Disparity between women and men, where the women are graduating college at a higher rate, and therefore from an education standpoint, from a career opportunity position and the amount of real estate they own, I forgot what the percentage is, but more single women own real estate and homes than men do. And it's getting worse and worse. You've got a lot of men unemployed. You have a lot of situations going on out there. And that is causing a bunch of brothers to believe, well, if I am not in that statistic, I'm not in that group, I'm the brother who's, taking care of himself, I'm in shape, I'm watching Instagram videos and I'm working out, and look at me in my perfect life, and I'm making all this money and I got nice cars, then that puts you in a tier of, well, I am separating myself from all the other riffraff out there, so I must be top tier. I am high value. And I will say, in that one aspect, perhaps, brother, yeah. In that one aspect, yes. You might be of value to a woman who values a man who's earning a certain amount of money in this particular economic climate. But don't get it twisted. Let's not get it twisted. We need to rearrange our thinking when it comes to what is considered high value, top tier. We need to identify contextually what we're talking about. That's what this whole thing's about. I'm going to wind up doing a live stream. I'm going to wind up having a female guest on, and we're going to talk about this. We're going to talk about, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe top tier, high value. Maybe it does start with the earnings potential first. Maybe it does start with the height and how good looking you are, whether you're light skin, dark skin, whether you got muscles, don't have muscles, whether you got this, that, whatever it is. Because there's so many elements and so many factors that go into being high value and being a person of worth, a worthy candidate for a worthy woman, right? And that's what it all comes down to. Anyway, MarcusVanHorne, I just want to talk about that. Like I said, I'm going to have somebody on, and we're going to talk about that, and we're going to get into it. If you're joining me and you're new here, subscribe to this channel. I'm starting off new. We're going to get into it. I got a bunch of videos coming where we're going to talk about all these different things when it comes to dating, date coaching, and how to deal with relationships and how to deal with dating if you're on dating apps, and trying to give you guidance and advice on a lot of this stuff. So subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Like the video on the way out. If this happened to make it into your algorithm and you saw this video, hit that like button. Leave a comment below what you think high value, high top tier is. Let me know if you're top tier. Let me know in the comments below, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.